In other news we're tracking for you, ActionSA says it will not send a formal delegation from its national leadership to the National Convention this Friday. The party says it will deploy 2 senior members of parliament as observers. Let's unpack the story further with Athol Trollip, who is ActionSA's parliamentary leader. Athol, thanks for your time this afternoon. I see from the statement here that you are sending a delegation because you don't want to pull out of the process entirely because of the oversight aspect of things.
Good afternoon, Michelle. Thanks very much. Yes, we're really disappointed about the withdrawal of some of the Legacy Foundation organizations. We're also very concerned about some of the allegations around the funding, the budget, where it's coming from, how it will be administered, who will account for it, will it comply with all the financial legislation and the PFMA requirements. So we don't want to legitimize something that could potentially be illegitimate. And we're mostly concerned about the fact that the presidency seems to have overridden everything, and that this national dialogue appears to be now driven from the office of the presidency. Even the budget of 25 million rand that has now been transferred into NEDLAC's account appears to have come from the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation, of which I'm a member, and I have no knowledge of this budget. I read about that in social media, and even the chairperson of the Appropriations Committee wrote to the minister this week to say, where does this money come from? We're also very concerned that there were mentions of the budget being as high as 750 million rand, and now we see that 25 million rand has been transferred to NEDLAC for this weekend's affairs. We want to be part of the national dialogue, but what we don't want to do is to be part of a national dialogue that's masquerading as a national dialogue when in actual fact all it is the ANC trying to shore up flagging support amongst the electorate. So we have sent 2 of our senior delegates who will attend on our behalf this weekend to observe and to listen as to what's happening, and then to give feedback to the party about whether it's worth our while continuing in the rest of the national dialogue. I want to remind viewers that the national dialogue isn't just about a 2-day event or a 3-day event. It's about preparing for the national dialogue to go to every single ward in this country. And if people are pulling out that lend legitimacy, and the civil society is pulling out because they believe that the government is taking control of this under the ANC leadership, then it will, for all intents and purposes, simply be the ANC campaigning for the local government elections with state payers' money.
Certainly. So are you saying that the 25 million rand, Athol, appears to be for this weekend's national convention? And if so, is there any clarity on how even that figure was arrived at?
There's absolutely no clarity. In fact, my information is that there was a determination that this weekend's event would cost 42 million rand, but I have it according to social media, and that I find anomalous, because Parliament should know what's going on and where the money is coming from, that only 25 million rand has been transferred into NEDLAC's account. Now, if there is provision for a 42 million rand budget for this weekend's events, why has only 25 million rand been transferred into the NEDLAC account? And even that, we hear that the Legacy Foundations wanted a separate bank account so that they could account appropriately. There's a lack of trust with NEDLAC being involved. And, we saw what happened during the COVID years, where the government used the urgency of state spending, despite the president assuring us that there would be no skullduggery and no undue expropriation of public funds. We saw that happening wholesale during the COVID years, and we are very concerned that this might happen again now during the national dialogue process.
I would love to get my hands on a copy of that budget for 25 million rand and what each and every line item might possibly be that adds up to this astronomical amount to South Africans who are living in the economy we're living in, even though members of government might not be so well versed in the struggles of daily life.
Well, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Michelle. if you would like to know, imagine how much we would like to know as members of parliament. Certainly as a member of the Portfolio Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation in the Office of the President, I have absolutely no idea where this money is coming from. I read this week that the chairperson of the Appropriations Committee had also written to the Minister of Finance to find out where this money was come from. There was no budget for this money. Obviously, there will have to be an adjustment budget. But we want to know where the money is coming from, what the opportunity cost is going to be for that budget, and how it's going to be spent, and whether it will be spent in the interest of the people of South Africa. If it simply becomes a national campaigning event for the ANC to shore up their flagging support, then we will tell the public, and we will absolutely withdraw from this process. We're not going to legitimize an illegitimate process. And I know that this is just the beginning of the national dialogue. And my two colleagues, Lerato Ngobeni and Dr. Khosile Tlhape, will be going there with a very keen eye and asking some very prudent and pertinent questions as to how this budget has been derived, who will account for it, how it will be accounted for, and what it will be used for.
So we know now that two GNU parties have pulled out of the national dialogue, the DA and the Freedom Front Plus, who we are talking to a little later on in the program as well, Athol. As you said at the beginning of our discussion, legacy foundations have also pulled out, remove their support for the exercise of the national dialogue. But outside of all of that, outside of these decisions in the GNU and the legacy foundations, was ActionSA in the build-up to the decision to hold a national dialogue in support of this as an exercise?
Look, first of all, I want to remind you that all the GNU partners, when they signed their statement of intent to go into a government of national unity, they all supported this initiative for a national people's dialogue. So, you know, those parties that are pulling out now, they'll have to explain to the public why they're doing that, because it appears as if it's a boycott, or it's in retaliation for something that the government has or hasn't done. But all the GNU partners signed up for it. The rest of the members or parties in Parliament had absolutely no say in this. We were simply told through a pronouncement by the President that this will be taking place on such and such a date. And this is compounded by the fact that all the legacy foundations and civil society essentially had some concerns around the starting date, and the President is determined that he's going to go ahead with it. And it appears that the presidency, the people that normally arrange the inauguration of the president every 5 years after a national election, they're the people who are now maneuvering behind the scenes to run this national dialogue. And if that is the case, and we'll pick up this weekend whether the whole arrangement, management, and coordination of this national dialogue is essentially being run by the ANC. If we find that that is the fact, we will most certainly withdraw. But I find it quite interesting that GNU partners who signed up for this in their statement of intent are pulling out before the case. And you will remember that the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, especially Thabo Mbeki himself, he had some choice words to say to the Democratic Alliance when they indicated that they'd be pulling out. And then he turned around and did exactly the same thing with his foundation. So this whole national dialogue is now mired in controversy, and people don't understand exactly what it's for.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's difficult to disagree with that. Athol Trollip, let me thank you for your time. ActionSA's parliamentary leader announcing its decision on the participation in the upcoming National Dialogue Convention, which kicks off on Friday. ActionSA says it will not participate, but they will be sending a delegation.